What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the MLB Swing for the Fences DFS show. I'm your host, Mangone, back to talk some MLB. Let's talk to JT. We'll talk to Big T. We'll go to JT first. JT, how's it going over there? How's the Saturday treat?
It's a fantastic day. Great weekend. Beautiful day outside here. A nice slate coming up here tonight. Some good hits last night. Big T and Uncle T on the Reds for the members, and Trevor Bauer had another big night. Looks to be on a different level than really every other pitcher in the game. So we'll keep that in mind next week. But going well. How about you, Mangone?
Oh, yeah, it's good. NBA so far pretty good. I'm excited where I'm sitting. I faded the 80% Damian Lillard and survived, so that was fun. So it could set up for a good night. I'm excited to sweat some NBA out. Big T, man, we just talked about Trevor Bauer. Man, that was not fun to see him go crazy because we talked about it. Like, we didn't understand the line. That game was weird, but hey, your Reds still put up some runs.
Yeah, so I mean, it ended up being one of those things where I didn't trust the line, but I didn't really have a choice where to go. Like, he had the most raw, like, floor. So I ended up having a pretty good chunk of Bauer. And I stuck with my Reds just because it fit with the Dodgers. It fit with some of the other big stacks, just to where it was one of those things. I didn't feel super confident about either side, just to be fully honest. Like, I loved the spot, but the line was just weird to me. But I ended up still having a decent chunk of both, so it was a good night. It was weird because I loved the spot, but I was a little uneasy, and I ended up it was just a weird spot all the way around. And I'm glad I ended up not, like, fading it or something because of the line, because I would have been really upset about that. But, I mean, Bauer, he was just absolutely dominant again, like JT said. So he's just got knock-away stuff when he's got the control under wraps. And, yeah, he looked good again. My boy Kikuchi did not. JT can take the victory lap on me. He was kind of all over that. He had a tough, whatever you call it, where not an error, but they went home in, like, the second inning instead of throwing to first and getting the out. And a few weird plays like that, but he didn't have the knockaway stuff. Really didn't get the job done. So if you faded Kikuchi, you definitely – I was wrong about that one. I'll take the L there. Got to take the L's with the W's if you want the people to trust you.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And yeah, Kikuchi did not work out too well. Griffin Canning, too, like, man, he was cruising, and then it was tilting. But listen, we're off to today. It's DFS, right? We can easily, go on to the next day. And we're going to attack this slate, and we're going to take this thing down. So, I'm excited to really break this down with you guys and really dive into the slate because I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's a pretty good one. Let's dive in. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about the top pitchers. And I think today's the day we're going to be going to these top end arms. I don't know about you guys, but Clayton Kershaw, like Chris Paddock, I think they're two of the best arms on the entire slate. Big T, we'll head over to you. How are you handling this? Because I see your boy Merritt Kelly is here too.
Yeah, so pitching is pretty interesting tonight just because there's not that much up at the top. You got Kershaw projected pretty high, Paddock projected pretty solid too, and then it's a decent drop off for me after that. But I don't know, like, what is it about Kershaw in my head? Like, he's looked much better when he's actually been on the hill this year, but he had the random, like, scratch. And JT could probably talk more on this than me, but actually let's just let JT talk about it because I feel uneasy with Kershaw, but when he has been on the hill, like, he's looked really good to me, so I don't know how to take it. I want to hear from a baseball guy, like, what's the deal with Clayton? And he hasn't shown upside either until this year, and all of a sudden now he can strike guys out again.
Yeah, I think so. Tonight, I think right off the bat, there's probably 60% of these pitchers that you could just cross off the list. Either they're not going to get the innings or they're just terrible and you want to stack the other side. Kershaw is one I've been thinking about, and there's a couple of things that jump out to me. One, he had a decent game against Arizona, but as we saw last night against Zach Davies, Arizona can make anybody look like a Cy Young winner. I mean, 8 Ks for Zach Davies, that's ridiculous. His price, at least on Draftkings, it went up $1,500. On FanDuel, it went up a little bit. The thing about him is this is a Giants team that doesn't strike out a lot against left-handed pitchers. His strikeout rate It's probably elevated a little bit because it's just one game this year, certainly a little higher than it was last year. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. He's in the boat where I'm either going to play him a bunch or I'm going to fade him completely and take the leverage in tournaments and go down to Merrill Kelly, who's got a really, in my opinion, at least an equal matchup as Kershaw does, because, Big T, you talk about it every time, right? The Giants have a bunch of batters in their lineup that do pretty well against lefties. And a lot of people were making a big deal about, Kershaw's velocity is up. His velocity is up 2 miles an hour. So instead of 90, he's throwing 92. That's not a big deal for guys that are used to seeing 97, 98, even triple digits. So I'm torn on Kershaw. I'm leaning towards a fade tonight. But I don't know what I'm going to do in the end.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Kershaw's the cash game guy, right? His total's good, right? If you look at the Giants team total, it's really low. You kind of just trust Vegas there. I will say the K prop, and you like to look at those Big T, it's a 6.5 prop, and it's juiced on the under. So I think the next closest total was at 5.5 on the K props. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. And Merritt Kelly, we talked about, he gets a pretty good matchup. Yeah, Chris Paddock, which he's more of a mid-tier guy. But JT, how about you talk about Chris Paddock? How do you want to approach him compared to some of these other guys? Is he just a better value than a guy like Kershaw here? Because you're getting a pretty good amount of savings here with this price.
Yeah, his price much better on DraftKings. He's 7.9 on DraftKings. He's 9.1 on FanDuel. But that to me looks more like a pitcher's duel. That game in San Diego. It's a park where you see a lot of that. Look, Kershaw, I don't think there's any question. I expect the Dodgers to win that game. But with this, you get a 60-game season. I think he might have gone, I don't remember if it was 5 or 6 innings last time out. But this is another situation where you're going to pay 10.5 on DK, 10.6 on FanDuel. What's your ceiling with Dave Roberts in a 60-game season with this being Kershaw's second start? And is your ceiling better off by going Merrill Kelly and maybe a Peterson, or by taking Kelly and Paddock? And that's the decision for me. In cash games, yeah, you can play Kershaw. He's going to be 40% owned. It's just a question of ceiling. And we saw last night with Urias, who got into a little bit of trouble. You get into trouble as a starter on the Dodgers, you're out of the game. Because he doesn't have to worry, because you got a bullpen where everyone throws 99 miles an hour and it's a shutdown bullpen.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you on that. That's the one thing to worry about him, right? Dave Roberts could obviously pull him, but yeah, Kershaw's definitely the safest guy for me. Big T, how about you? What are you doing in this mid-tier range with a guy like Paddock and some of these other ones?
Man, I'm struggling a lot. Last night, I thought pitching. It's weird how every baseball slate's different, because last night I just felt really good about those 3 guys, even though Kikuchi didn't work out. Both the other guys crushed pretty good. So I don't know, man. I'm so torn about Kershaw because I feel like he has the highest floor and probably the highest ceiling, but at the same time, he's going to be 50% owned. And I don't really feel good about him. I mean, like JT said, I always like this Giants lineup more than I should against lefties. I feel like it's a very good leverage spot on a Saturday night where I kind of like the lineup. They're only projected 2.9 implied runs. I don't know, but it does suck because if I don't play Kershaw, I kind of agree with JT where I like the pitching in this San Diego game. But, I mean, Merrill Kelly at 10K is quite the pivot off 10.5 Clayton Kershaw. I think I might do it, though. I think I might pull the trigger and go with these arms like Paddock, Kelly, and then as we work our way down. I'm interested in Odorizzi, too. So what's the deal with him? Is he on any sort of pitch count, or what's the deal with him?
Yeah, he's a guy I crossed off at that price. He's going to throw 60 to 70 pitches according
for sure, 60 to 70.
Baldelli said 60 to 70. That's okay. I read that about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to change. And at 10-1, I'll pass.
That's what I seen all the projections and everything, and I figured he had to be pretty low pitch count just because if he had normal pitches, I would think it would be higher. So yeah, we'll cross him off. And so in the mid range, another guy that pops off. Oh, I took the L for my boy Kikuchi last night. But how about my 4K dude went out there mowing those dudes down last night for the Miami? Who was it? The Miami guy? He went out there just
Mejia.
Yeah, Mejia, he was out there just dusting people at 4K. And the weird thing is tonight, so I hate jumping around on you, Mangone, but it's kind of just how the pitching works tonight. This 4K dude from Colorado is projected basically the same points as everybody but Kershaw in that same range. I mean, to be projected like 13, between 10 and 13 where you look, what's the deal with this guy? Like, can I play? I got made fun of yesterday for not knowing the prospects. This guy's got to be some sort of prospect, right? Like, he's projected good. Am I completely wrong again? Are they going to make fun of me again, JT?
No, he's you're talking about Castellani, right? Yeah, 20% K rate in the minors. He's another guy who's making a couple of level jump. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how long he's going to pitch, right? I mean, the difficulty here this year is, instead of seeing game logs for these guys in the minor leagues, they're at this alternate site where I have no idea what the hell happens, right? Do they play intra-squads? Do they throw bullpens? I mean, I'm not sure. So I don't know how much he's been throwing. Seattle's a team that we've been picking on to our own detriment because they always end up doing okay. Although last night, I was a bit surprised with how well Senzatella pitched against this team. At 4K, though, same thing we talked about with Kikuchi, right? Even though I wasn't in love with the play last night, I said, look, at that price, he's not going to murder you, unless he goes negative. So I just don't know enough about this guy. And I don't know. I think there's just like 3 or 4 guys up top that I think I want to try and stay amongst them. I'm not going to play the Miami guy tonight. He's not nearly the type of prospect that the kid was last night, and he looked good. I mean, he was carving up those Mets batters. This kid's kind of a mid-level prospect, lefty, 20% strikeout in the minors, but also a 30% fly ball rate. And you got a couple of these Mets righties that I think can take advantage of him. So, but the Casti, I had his FanGraphs up. I'll pull it up because it didn't stand out to me like the kid. The kid last night, he had like a 185 opposing batting average to both sides. I mean, Miami's kid. And even though it was single A, it was like, oh, okay, he's a talented prospect. This kid, it didn't jump off the page.
All right. How about this guy? Like, listen, so we talked about this Rockies guy's a cheap option. And the one reason why we target him is because of the bad offense they're against, right? They're in Seattle. And I know the Marlins have been good. They've been better, but we're not buying the Marlins offense, right? If they're a stock, we're selling that stock. David Peterson, right? He's been pretty good to start out the year. I mean, against Boston, he got the job done. He had like 13.35 fantasy points. And then against Atlanta, he had 19.9 and struck out 8 batters. What about this David Peterson guy? JT, I'll go back to you on this one. Is he someone that we're interested in here against the Marlins?
Yeah, I'm interested in him basically because of the rest of the slate, right? He's at a convenient price point, 7.2. So he matches up well if you want to go him and Paddock, stay in the mid-range, or you wanted to get up to Kelly or even Kershaw, right? He's a guy who I was surprised by because he's a guy that there wasn't a lot of steam behind. It was like, yeah, he's just okay. And then he comes out and a Red Sox team that's better against lefties shuts them down. Shuts down the Braves who do strike out a lot against lefties. And now he gets a Marlins team that has been playing, I think, over their heads. I think they've been playing over their heads. And it's certainly not a bad park for pitching. I have some interest in him tonight. I just don't know. I don't know because it's one of these situations where it's like, now this is his 3rd start. I expect him to fall off, right? I expect him for the talent level of the major league guys to catch up, but he's shown that he belongs up here.
Yeah. Big T, how about you? I mean, is he someone that you're looking at? I know you don't normally like to, go after the Marlins. You like some of these cheap offenses sometimes. So are you playing that offense or are you looking at this pitcher?
Yeah, I just like this Marlins offense. I do. I look at it, and like I kind of say on all these shows, Sorelli showed some pop. Everybody ahead of him has some pop. I don't know. Like Louis Brinson has been awful in the majors, but Forsythe, I always like against lefties. The only guy I don't really know is the 9-hole hitter, which, I mean, he's a 9-hole hitter anyway. So I don't know. Like, I think David Peterson is going to be pretty chalky, all things considered, just because he's against Miami. People don't really trust him. You look at the line, though. I mean, the Mets aren't that big of a favorite. The Marlins are starting to get more and more traction as maybe they're a little bit better than people think. I'm not saying they're going to go win a World Series or anything, but I do think this roster is a little bit better than people think. I look at it, and it doesn't feel like a cupcake lineup to me. I mean, a few of these other games we get to are going to be worse lineups in my eyes. So I don't know. I don't really like Peterson that much. I get why people are playing him. He's a good price on a tough pitching slate against a Miami team that people aren't going to like. So I'm kind of off him. Just looking at the rest of this, I was trying to get dialed in while everything was while you guys were talking about it. And Disco Feeney, he looked pretty good his first start. I think he's only had one start. Maybe he's gone twice, but I only saw the one start. Decent matchup, Milwaukee. This lineup, you want to talk about a lineup I don't like? Like, this Milwaukee lineup is terrible outside of maybe two guys that remotely worry me. Disco Feeney has shown some decent K upside at times too. So I don't hate him. And then my game that I just realized, I don't know how I wasn't talking about it right away, but last year in the baseball final, I think the Draftkings final, I played this Colby Allard dude. And I like him. No one's going to play this guy. It's more of a play that I like and feel good about. And I know no one's going to play him. And I'm good with that too, because I think he's decent. And I think Sandoval's decent. I know I've gone to pitcher a lot in this Texas stadium. I don't like the Angels line. I know they don't strike out a ton. I'm not saying there's a ton of upside here, but I don't like pitching tonight. And I really see this Texas game as a pitcher duel. This Colby dude is going to be 1% owned, which I'm good with in baseball. Like I say, I like to get some leverage in spots, pivot off Chalk Kershaw, come down with pitchers in this game. I mean, Sandoval might be 10%, Colby 1 or 2%. I mean, I'm good with that. I like those two. I like Disco, and I like the two San Diego pitchers. Those will be like my roster of the night.
Yeah, I mean, Big T, like, listen, I look at it like it's crazy what you're saying, but I will say, the leverage is the best feeling. Like yesterday, I didn't play 80% Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and he busted in cash. I didn't play 80% Dame today, and he busted. I mean, I'm loving the leverage right now. So listen,
I mean, it's just how you're going to give yourself a chance. It's what JT does so good too. It's how you're going to win a baseball tournament. You're not going to. It's very hard to get in there, play Kershaw, play one other team, play chalk offense, and take down a tournament. Like, it is very, very hard. You're going to have to hit the exact combo. But if you pivot off that, play two pitchers in Texas, play a weird stack. I'm not saying you got to go crazy either. You can play some chalk offense with it, but just get a few leverage spots in there, and you give yourself a much cleaner path to victory.
All right, well, let's finalize pitcher. JT, finalize it by giving me your top.
Make fun of my Texas pitchers. I need to hear his take on my Texas arms.
Yeah, do that and then give us the guys, JT.
I think Sandoval is actually going to end up being the second highest owned pitcher. I don't know why people like to play him, because Madden's not going to leave him in there long enough. Sandoval's okay. I don't know about Allard. I don't know if I'd play him. It's just at his price, I think the Angels, they don't strike out enough to make that price, jump out of my mind. Your guy for the Rockies, xFIP of 6.26, ERA anywhere between 5 and 8 between double and triple A. So I would, I'd maybe save him for another day. But my top pitcher, I think I'm going to go with Kelly, Paddock, and it's funny. I was bouncing back and forth on Disclafani because, I think Uncle T was like, well, the Brewers could put up 7 lefties. Only 2 of those really concern me. I mean, to be honest, on the Brewers side, and they do. Again, it's the same thing I said with Bauer last night. Numerically, Disclafani has the best matchup on the board. He's got only a 20%. He's got a 22% K rate. The Brewers strike out 31% of the time against righties. So this mid-range is, I'm going to have to dig in a little bit after the show, but it's between him and Peterson for me as a third pitcher.
That lineup is so terrible for Milwaukee. Like, it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the best for sure.
I mean, you just got to get past Yelich, really. And he's hot right now too. He finally got hot. You just can't let him beat you. I don't care what you got to do. Just pitch around him.
Yeah, I will say one of the weirdest things I've always noticed about Reds and Brewers, and this is totally just so obscure, but those games always went over. I felt like all the time, Tony. They were always shootouts. I swear. But yeah, I don't know. We'll obviously get to that, and we'll talk about that game when we get there with the stacks. So Big T, give me your top 3 arms on the slate.
So I think I'd rank Kelly and Paddock 1, 2, just for safety. I might not even end up playing those two on my main team, but I do think they're the best options. I think on my main team, I'm probably going to play Disco and one of the Texas guys. And it might be Colby. I like both of those guys. But those 5, tonight's a night. Some nights I tell you I'm going to play 2, some 3. Tonight I'm going to play those 5 pitchers. Both Texas guys, both San Diego guys, and Disco will kind of be my 5 arms of the night.
All right, JT, final thoughts on pitcher.
No, I think the decision point on this slate comes down to what you do with Kershaw. And in my mind, I think when people see Kershaw, they remember Kershaw from 4 or 5 years ago when he would go into the 8th or 9th inning. He's not doing that this year.
All right. If you wonder why I was fumbling with things there for a second, I'm finishing up the core plays. I don't know what core. Big T, are you doing the core plays today for the tournaments today over on Run Pure Sports?
Yes, I am. Can't wait to do it.
Nice. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, I'm in there. I'm doing my cash game construction. Big T's doing his tournament construction. We got Uncle T giving a main GVP. We got Titletown giving some takes.
Actually, I haven't told JT yet, but he's going to have to take Titletown's spot tonight because Titletown is doing some softball or something. So we're going to have all 3 of us in there on the playbook tonight. Just a little tournament roster from the GOAT JT.
There you go. Last minute dump. Nice.
I forgot to tell him till you just said that when you said Titletown.
It's a good thing I mentioned it because that way he gets taken care of.
We would have had 2 roster constructions from Big T if I forgot to tell him.
Like someone named Xander Bocartes.
I'm typing things in as I'm trying to do stuff. So again,
is he spelling that again on there?
We talked about it on the show, man. Before we got on here, Tony. Saturdays, there's a lot going on. Honestly, there's also news hitting and everything, NBA stuff. Looking for swaps. There's tons going on, but it's an awesome time. But yeah, let's dive in. Let's talk about these, stacks. Let's go in and break them each down. So first game up, we got the Angels, we got the Rangers, and I see the Angels. They were popping yesterday, and they're popping today a little bit, and I get why, it's a good spot, but man, I just hate the pitcher's park. Tony, kick it off for us. Cause I'm with you on this park. I hate attacking it. I don't think it's a fun spot.
I mean, I'm not going to play offense because I said I like the pitchers. I like the park. I mean, sure, you can play Trout literally any day. I got made fun of yesterday because some dude named Adele is the best prospect in the last 20 years. He's in the lineup tonight. So, I mean, maybe he's a good play, but I just don't like it. Obviously, you can play Trout. Obviously, you can play Rendon, of course. I mean, crushes lefties. Fletcher crushes lefties, too. So I think JT said it yesterday on the show, but I like the Angels 1 through 4. I don't like the Angels. How great was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Pujols with the double down the line. It was the easiest double in the league, in the world for 99.9%. I would have been in second, standing up. He almost got thrown out with a ball in the corner. It was awesome. And then the next play, he scored on a single to the gap. It was great watching him hustle. But, yeah, I hate the Angels besides 1 through 4. Obviously, you can play them anytime.
All right, JT, what are you doing with this game as well?
Yeah, I mean, this park it's just depressing. I mean, it's a depressing park. The games are almost unwatchable. The only thing that if I'm doing 150 and I may have 3 Texas stacks just because no one's going to play them, and you're going to get Sandoval for 3 or 4 innings, and the Angels have a bad bullpen. Texas lineup is cheap, but I don't have a lot of love for this game. And like Tony said, on the Angels side, that top 4, that's about it.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We got the Rockies, we got the Mariners. Or whoops, no, I went too far down. My bad. We got the Twins, we got the Royals. Sorry, got the Twins, we got the Royals. And that's a game we're definitely gonna want to talk about, right? Tons of offenses to like. I do want to mention on FanDuel specifically, man, like Mitch Garver's price 2.4K. I mean, could you imagine compared to 4.6K? Just such a really good value over there against Danny Duffy. Big T, kick it off because Minnesota Twins. We talk about how they have tons of power bats. You basically got to play them every day, and they get Danny Duffy here. So this looks like a pretty good spot for some Twins.
So, I mean, I hate saying stuff like this because when we're on these shows every day, it feels like I'm getting redundant, but I hate taking the Twins when they're in a chalkier spot in a big downgrade park-wise. I know people are going to like them today. I do. It's just some of the stuff I do in baseball that over the course of the season, I think I'm going to profit with. And I really don't change the way I do it. I don't flip-flop spots like that. So I think they're in a good spot. I just don't love the park. I don't love the lineup as much as other people will. It's kind of like the Angels almost. I love Garver, love Cruz, love Sano. Don't like the rest, really. I mean, Arias, Adrianza at the bottom, even Marwin. I don't like those guys. I don't like the park. I don't think Duffy's as cupcake of a matchup as other people will. I mean, I'm not in love with him, but it just feels like a really good fade spot for me. I get why people are going to play Minnesota without a doubt. I'm just not going to be one of them. I don't play offense in this park unless it's just crazy 100-degree heat, wind blowing out type thing. I know it's a little hot there today too, but I'm just fading the Twins. I'm fading the Royals too, obviously, but the Twins is going to be the chalky side I'm fading.
All right, JT, how about you? What are you doing with this offenses?
Yeah, I think obviously, Duffy is going to give up a couple of home runs, but he's been okay. He hasn't been shelled by the Twins throughout his career either. He's been okay. And I think Big T's right. The bottom of that lineup isn't all that appealing. I do think there are better spots. I mean, even Cruz is up around 5K now on Draftkings, so you kind of need him, to get a home run and something else today. Garver's priced up. The whole team is priced up, really. So I think there are probably equally good spots. I'll have some of the Twins, but they're not I don't think they're in my top three tonight.
All righty, let's move on to the next one. We got Marlins, we got the Mets. JT, I'm going to go back to you because we were talking a little pre-show about the Mets. Give me your breakdown on them, and do you think the Marlins could be a contrarian stack as well?
Yeah, I think, definitely the Marlins are going to be contrarian. I'm showing them coming in as right around 5 or 6% total ownership for that team. And like I said, Peterson is a guy who I definitely have some interest in, but also I'm kind of waiting for him to have that sort of welcome to the big leagues where he has that really bad game after a couple of good ones. But the Mets side of this, looking at the salaries, at least on DraftKings, Ahmed Rosario hits lefties well. He's 3.8. J.D. Davis crushes lefties. He's 3.8. Alonso's down below 5K. Wilson Ramos is 3.3. People are talking about Brian Dozier, and, that's great and everything, but it's not 2010. Sure, you could take a shot on him. But I kind of like this game. I always like these games at Citi Field more than I should because they never seem to pan out. So I don't know if this is a game stack situation, but I like these Mets righties. And, on the flip side, Aguilar's been hitting the ball hard. Anderson, Cervelli's 3.6. I don't know what to do with this game. We'll see what Big T thinks because I do like the Mets lefties more than I like the Miami side.
All right, Big T, how about you? What are you doing with these Mets?
Yeah, I do like the Mets a little bit against a lefty. I mean, he made fun of my boy, though. I always like Brian Dozier against lefties. He has been pretty bad, though, just to be fair. Like, he's been – who was he with last year, the Dodgers or whoever he was with? He sucked.
He was terrible with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
that was like his first bad run.
So it was a good call. I mean, if you need him to fit some salary, I'm playing a little cheaper pitcher, so I doubt I need him. But if you were spending up like on Kelly and Kershaw or something and you needed some salary, I don't mind doing that, especially with Ramos. No one's going to play Dominic Smith lefty-lefty. This Marlins pitcher isn't going to go super deep, so you're not going to be lefty-lefty all night. And he's got tons of power. Conforto's got power. I kind of like these lefties even just because they're not going to face this lefty for all night, and they can hit him anyways. So, yeah, I don't love Citi Field. I kind of agree with that. It seems like it never just explodes. But as far as this spot, I really like this spot. It's one of my favorite of the night. I like that JT's on it. And I think a lot of people – I mean, obviously if people play the Mets, they're going to play JD and Alonso and Ramos. I think those three will kind of just be the auto plays. I think you can go to these lefties too. I mean, McNeil will probably be a little chalky too just because he's in the 2-hole. But like Conforto and Dom Smith – even Billy Hamilton, who is awful at hitting, if he gets on, he could steal, and he's in the 9-hole. He's going to be 1% owned. Again, like we're going to talk about every single day on these shows. I don't mind taking stabs on dudes like Billy Hamilton that say he gets 2 hits and steals 3 bases. He's got a chance to win you a tournament, and that's definitely in the realm of outcomes. Like, sure, it's not an optimal play by any means, but it's how I want to play baseball. I'm fine with that. I play the chalky guys, JD, Pete, Ramos, and then instead of playing Rosario and McNeil or these guys, play Billy Hamilton and Dozier, or Billy Hamilton and Dom Smith would be my like optimal Big T type build where you play the 3 good guys, filter in 2 completely unowned, 1 with power, 1 with speed. And if you hit the nuts and they score 12 runs, you got a chance to really get different with those 2 guys at the bottom. So, yeah, I like the Mets a lot. They could end up being my favorite stack.
Yep, I'm with you. I think this Mets stack could be really, really interesting here today.
Marlins are due for a game, too, where they just get shellacked. I know people don't believe in the due factor, but they're due to just get waxed one night.
Yeah, actually, speaking of the due factor, Big T, someone told me LeBron is due to hit the over on 21.5 points tonight. Is that official? Do you think he'll hit the over there? Is he due to get? I just couldn't imagine
in the NBA this last week before the playoffs playing a LeBron prop when he's playing for nothing. Like I couldn't even imagine doing it.
I said he's just going to defer and just let J.R. Smith do stuff and other things. He's just going to try to let those guys get right.
He has zero motivation. Like, sure, maybe it'll hit, but like I can't feel good about saying that.
That's how I felt too. But anyways, I just was laughing when you said the due factor because had a long conversation about that today. But we got the Reds, we got the Brewers, and we'll go to you, JT. This game is one that we talked about before. They usually shoot out, right? And this is not a bad spot here. What are you doing with this?
Yeah, I mean, same as last night. I mean, Brett Anderson is actually worse than Eric Lauer. Brett Anderson at 7-1, actually. Every time I look at that, I just kind of laugh a little bit, thinking that someone may actually put him in the lineup at 7-1. This is a great lineup, too. Irvin up top. I like Irvin. I like Irvin a lot against lefties. Castellanos, Suarez, Davidson, Casali. Galvis is down there. Galvis he's underrated, Big T, isn't he?
He's my favorite, but I'll say this. This is another thing. Like, I feel like I'm so redundant with stuff, but I just have my things in baseball that have worked for me. I only like him against righties for some reason because I like him at the left side of the dish. I know he's a switch hitter. And it might not even be right. It's just one of those things that's in my head where I love him against righties and hate him against lefties. I could be completely wrong, but it's something I go with. So I wouldn't put him in my Cincinnati stack tonight. I like asking you stuff like this because I think over the years, I mean, playing DFS 7-8 years now or however long it's been, I think things get in my head and maybe they're not even true. Is this just stupid to do that? Like where I only play him against righties?
No, I mean, I don't know what his splits are per se. He's one of these guys that is always cheap. He's always low owned, and he always seems to hit a home run.
He always seems to do something, doesn't he? Always.
But the case for playing him tonight, if you're going to have a couple of different stacks, is because Anderson's not going to be around long. Even if Anderson does relatively well, let's say he, gives up 2 runs, right? He's on a pitch count too. He's going to throw, I think, 70 to 80 is what I saw. So he's going to be gone, and then you're going to get that bullpen, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite is like looking up the stats and like just being like, Freddie Galvis' stats are so bad, but I'm with you guys. I do feel like he always does something. It is like the weirdest thing ever.
There was a time I think last year where this is the dead truth. Like I would play him every day, no matter what the matchup was, as like my +1. He would always be 1% owned, and he would always be free, so you could like pay up at pitcher. Every single day he'd get you like 12 points at 1%, and it was just the best thing ever.
Yeah, I look at the hard hit rates for about the last 2 weeks all season last year. Galvis was in there for half the year. I was like, Jesus.
And why does he always do better at the bottom of the lineup? If you ever put him up top, he sucks. I don't know what it is about him.
He hates pressure.
He literally might.
We got any final thoughts on this game, guys? What are we thinking? JT, any final thoughts on this Reds-Brewers game?
No, I mean, on the Brewers side, I mean, I don't love Sogard. Sogard's kind of like I'm just surprised he's still in the big leagues. But Yelich, Gamel's been hitting the ball really hard. Narvaez hasn't done anything this year. He's still priced up. This isn't an imposing lineup outside of really Yelich. Morrison hit a homer last night, but really Yelich and Gamel are the two guys. Brock Holton, no. So I don't know. I guess it's an all right. Like I said, 31. They strike out 31% of the time. So you can take a shot with Disco Fani.
I like Disco. The more I think about it, the more I like it. You keep talking about that 31% number. I look at Ben Gamel in the 6 hole, Narvaez, Holt, Orlando Arcia. Like that bottom of the lineup looks tasty to me. And even Logan Morrison, I mean, he's got some power, but he goes up there waving a lot too. So I like him. And this Reds lineup, man, it looks so good again against bad lefties.
Yeah.
I wish Votto wasn't in there, as crazy as it sounds. I know some people like Votto. I just hate Votto. So this lineup looks slightly worse to me today than it did yesterday. But you do get Irvin up in the 1 hole, which I love. I still obviously love Suarez, Davidson, Casali. Winker freaking sucks too. So there's a few guys in there that I hate. But you do have enough to make a stack. Don't like it quite as much as I did yesterday, but I do like it. Castellanos is on fire too. Like you have to consider him, and no matter what team you're making tonight.
Yeah. The other thing you said about Winker too, they sub him out all the time. Like he's like a typical 2 at bat guy.
He's so bad. Like why is he even in there tonight? Lefty. Like he's terrible.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go on to the next one. We got the Blue Jays. We got the Red Sox. And JT, we'll go to you first. I mean, 10.5 total here. We talked about yesterday.
When is our Blue Jays going to come through for us?
I don't know. And it's frustrating because you talk about how much you love, and I do too, the Reds lineup. I hate this Blue Jays lineup. I hate it. I mean, it's just.
I've been saying this forever. You only play the Blue Jays really against lefties because they're just so righty heavy. I mean, that's the spot to do it. I think righties. It's typically stay away. Maybe you take BGO.
I've played them every day for the whole season, and I don't think they've been the winner yet. Like they just every day yesterday we got the early bomb too. I'm like, tonight's the night, and then just nothing the rest of the night again.
Yeah, when I look at this lineup, it almost makes me a little bit interested in Godley at 5'8" if I wanted to play one of these mid-range guys because he had a good game against the Mets. He got shelled by the Yankees last outing. And it's a spot I like to take chances on pitchers, especially at this salary. He's only going to go 5 innings, maybe 6. But, I mean, Vlad Guerrero hasn't done anything. It looks like all he did during the COVID break was eat. I mean, Grichuk, Rowdy Tellez batting 8th. I mean, I like Gurriel against lefties. Teoscar, Travis Shaw hitting 3rd. I mean, I'm not all that interested in the Blue Jays.
I know it's a revenge spot for Travis Shaw, but when Travis Shaw is your 3-hitter, something's got to be wrong, right, Big T? I know you keep playing him. I feel like you can't get off though.
I mean, I haven't been playing Travis Shaw to be fair, and then he finally almost hit a bomb last night, and dude robbed him in right field. So that was. I didn't have him anyways, I don't think. But I saw
it on the app as a home run, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Did they call it a home run on the app?
Yeah. So
oh no,
it was a home run. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And then I go into the game itself, and it was like he flied out to right. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
The old fake report. I hate it does that.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that? Didn't they do that with Jock Peterson last night? Was I crazy? I thought
I saw that too because that was the type of thing where I thought we had it, and like literally 2 hours later, I looked at my score. Because I knew my guys, I never look at the DK app until the end of the night. I look and I'm like, how does Peterson have 2? I know he hit a bomb, and then he didn't even hit it. What happened? I still don't know what happened.
I don't know. I saw the update on Twitter.
Too, JT?
No, I didn't see the Peterson one. Because I had Peterson in cash, and I was like, oh, but I also had Rios, and Rios actually hit a home run.
Yeah,
so
that was
helpful.
a tasty one too.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what happened with that. I still don't know because they scored that inning. How did they score if it wasn't a bomb?
yeah, I don't know. I know Mookie got one. Maybe it was just like an error because they're near each other.
Yeah, Ryan said Mookie bomb, so they must have got it backwards.
And Mookie did hit a bomb. On the Red Sox side here, Chase Anderson isn't good, but the Blue Jays bullpen is pretty good. So the 5-6 total that they have is a little bit surprising. I don't know. This is kind of an underwhelming team too. I don't know. Big T, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the other spots more. Like we always talk about. I like your Mets. I like the Reds. Always the Dodgers are going to be in play against Cueto, which we'll get to in a minute. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel this way, both sides of this game. Like, I think you could play Toronto if you really like it. I don't love the lineup, kind of like you don't. They've let me. This will probably be the night they go off, honestly, because neither one of us like them finally. So they'll probably go off. But, this Boston lineup, like, look at these dudes at the bottom. I know Moreland's hit a few bombs and been decent, but Moreland sucks. Vasquez, Benintendi, Jackie Brad. These guys are terrible. I just don't see it. Toronto's bullpen's been pretty good, like JT said. Sure. It's what is it, an 8-game slate? However many games it is in there. I can find other spots, and I just don't want to play these teams, so I'm not going to. I'd rather play the Mets.
I do like one thing. I do like Verdugo a little bit leading off. I think that's
Did he hit 2 bombs last night or 1?
I don't know if it was 2 or 1. He had like 30 some points on Draftkings.
I like that call.
5 he did something right.
He had 2 bombs. He had one the day, 2 days before. He's going for 4 in his last 3 games.
And 3,300 in the 1 hole. Yeah, I like that call. You're right. I kind of glossed over that because I didn't like. That's another thing I think I do too much in baseball is if I don't like the overall team, I kind of just cross plays off. And I don't think I should do that as much. I think that might be a hole for me too because some of the big hits I've had, the 6-figure hits and stuff, it feels like it's always a random 1 or 2 guys on the side. It's hardly ever just a 5 and 3 or something. Yeah. And a guy like Verdugo with a different stack, I like that. That's a good call. So I'm glad you brought it up.
See, so you guys might make fun of me. I like the Red Sox a lot here in this spot. Like Chase Anderson,
when they got a 6-run total or whatever it is.
Well, here's the thing though. Like everyone makes fun of the Red Sox and how bad they've been and stuff, but like. Man, Chase Anderson, he's like he's a good reverse. He's a guy you attack with because of the reverse splits, right? He struggles against righties. And a lot of people might just be like throwing all those lefties in their lineup and like, they might be like, oh, let me do like a 3-man stack of the lefties. And they might not go to a JD Martinez. Listen, JD Martinez has not been a fun roster. People might just pass on him because outfield is so loaded. They might do the same with Xander Bogaerts too. They might just say, oh, there's other shortstops I can play and not go to him. But I think the Red Sox are a really strong stack today. I like this spot for them, so I think they're really good to get mix and match in your cash games. They have good price tags too, like Verdugo, of course, right? Really good price tag. Helps to provide some value. I'm not saying you have to go all in on the Red Sox, but I think they're a pretty good stack overall on this slate. Let's go over to the next one. We got the Rockies. We got the Seattle Mariners. We'll go to you, JT. I think this game's just like awful and a stay away. How about you?
Yeah, nobody likes this park, obviously, but you've got 2 starting pitchers who are not good. Mlb Dfs is not good. All he's done so far this year is had a blown save. He's going to be limited to 60 or 70 pitches, and then you're going to get the Mariners bullpen, which is actually dead last in the league right now. So this lineup that they put out is pretty good. You got Garrett Hampson leading off, Story second, Arenado. The problem is with the Rockies is they're priced as if they're playing in Coors, and they're playing in the exact opposite of that ballpark. So I don't know if I'm going to full stack the Rockies tonight, but I think I'll take some shots with having some 3-mans of those because I do think they're going to put up some runs against this bullpen. On the flip side, Castellani is not a top-tier prospect. He's had an ERA and xFIP between 5 and 8 in AA and AAA. And I like Crawford. I like Seager. Vogelback hasn't done anything yet. Kyle Lewis is pretty good. I'm not sure who the people are in the bottom of the lineup, so I would probably stick to the top. But again, because of the park, you don't want to go crazy. So I will mix and match these where I'm playing the Mets, the Reds, the Dodgers, and get my exposure that way. Because although it is a pretty high total for Seattle, I mean, 4-9 and 4-7, that's interesting.
Real quick, I did want to mention, if you're, sweating NBA, you have 15 minutes. The Pacers game starts. We don't have any news in that one, but Goran Dragic got ruled out. So if you just want to get off of a Pacer to adjust news for that, now's the time, right? You got 15 minutes to do that. Big T, I don't know if you have to make adjustments and get any Pacers or Lakers out of your lineup, or if you already just faded them, but I figured I would drop that news for you, Big T.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I already was on. I was kind of planning on him being out, so I have a decent amount of exposure to guys like Hero. Actually, I mean, I think Hero's one of the best plays on the slate, well, especially now. I mean, now it's obvious, but yeah, I like it. Definitely.
All right, real quick, guys, if you could hit that like, hit that subscribe for us on the channel, we'd appreciate it. There's 138 of you watching the video. Big T, are we going to give away some swag today? What's the plan here? We got 41 likes and 139 people watching.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get to 100, we'll give it away. We always got to get to that 100 mark, though, Bear Man. It's going to be tough because we only got 140 watching. I mean, we got to get to the 100 mark, though, to give out the free stuff. I mean, it's a trip to FedEx.
Yeah, we got to make Big T's got to go all the way to FedEx and go out there. He's got to leave the house. If he's gonna leave the house, you got to make him you got to make him want to leave the house, I guess you should say.
It's tough on these
It's got to be worth.
What'd you say?
It's got to be worthy of a trip.
Oh yeah, I mean, in these weekends, it's busy, man. It's tough. It's tough to get 100 likes. I mean, we got 9 different sports going, action everywhere. It's tough to get 100. You got to work hard for these good shirts right here.
They're beautiful
goods.
Yeah, you got to work hard for it. Big T, is it on the way to Chick-fil-A, the FedEx, or you have to go out of the way?
I mean, yeah, you can definitely branch off and get a little Chick-fil-A on the way. I mean, it's definitely preferred to filter that in there on the way.
All right, yeah, I was checking. I'm so jealous, man. I never can get Chick-fil-A, but that's a conversation for another day. We got the Diamondbacks, we got the Padres up here next. And what do you want to do with this game, JT? Again, we already talked about it, right? Just play pitchers, no hitters here. Yeah,
I like the pitchers. I like the pitchers enough that I might not have any hitters in this game. That's kind of where I'm at. There's a couple of guys on San Diego that have been hitting the ball well and hard, but I do think Kelly is good enough that he can limit that. So I'm going to have far more of the pitchers than I will any hitters if I have any hitters here.
All right, Big T, how about you? I don't think you're playing against your boy Merrill Kelly or against Paddock here in this spot.
Yeah, no, this is the easiest fade of the night for me just because I like both pitchers, both solid pitchers, good park for pitching. Besides just being totally contrarian, I don't see any reason to play this game.
All right, let's go on to the last game. We got the San Francisco Giants. We have the Los Angeles Dodgers. There's an 8 total here, and it's because Johnny Cueto's on the mound, and we know Johnny Cueto is not so great. So what do you guys want to do here with the Dodgers? Big T, go first.
I mean, I say it every day, but the Dodgers should be on your list every single day. They're not going to be my favorite tonight. Just, I don't know. I like other spots more. I think the Dodgers will end up pretty chalky against Cueto. I don't think Cueto's the biggest gas can ever. He does all that weird stuff where he's spinning and doing his little bounce up and down before he throws it, trying to keep the hitters off guard because he just has no stuff anymore. So he does it with mirrors. But, I mean, you can play the Dodgers. If you like the Dodgers, if you're playing 10 teams or 20 teams, you should always have some Dodgers, 100%. If you're playing 150 teams, definitely some Dodgers. But if you're playing 1 to 3 teams, which I am tonight, I'm not going crazy just because the MMA and everything else going on. I'm not going to play them in one of my 3. I like the Mets more. I like a few other spots more, like the Reds. So I'm going to fade the chalkier Dodgers. I'm going to fade Kershaw too, so it's not going to be a fun sweat for me at the end of the night unless my boy Wilmer Flores, who hit a bomb last night, can take him Yard or Ruff or Trump. I like these Giants as one-offs. I'm not going to stack them against Kershaw. But talk about leverage. If Kershaw is above 50% owned, if we stack the Mets or if we stack whoever you like early, say you like Boston or whoever you like early, you get off to that good start, you fade Kershaw, and you play just one of these bats, Wilmer or Ruff or Trump as your catcher, and you don't play Kershaw, that is some big-time leverage if you can get that bomb and somehow push you up that chart a little bit at the end of the night. I think a fade like that and a leverage hitter like that could be what wins someone a tournament tonight.
All right, JT, what are you doing with these Dodgers? Are they one of your top stacks of the night?
Yeah, no, I do think they're going to have an easy time with Cueto, but I don't love them as much as I did last night. I do like taking shots with the Giants too because Kershaw's going to be highly owned. People are going to play him, and we saw last night, right? His team doesn't strike out quite as much against left-handed pitchers. Kershaw is still good, but he's not the same kind of strikeout machine that he was. So, and you got a couple of guys here. Solano is pretty good against lefties. Longoria, I don't know, but Flores, Ruff, Trump isn't awful for that price. So, pretty good leverage spot. But yeah, on the Dodgers side, I'd probably go more one-offs on the Dodgers side. I like Bellinger. Bellinger at some point is going to hit a ball out of the park. So he's good. Jock leading off, although. Talk about it every time. As soon as they make a pitching change, he's at risk to come out of the game, which is just annoying. And on an 8-game slate, do I really want to worry about that? So I'm going to limit my exposure to Jock.
All righty then. Listen, I don't got much else to say here. I mean, Dodgers, right? If you look at this lineup, it's good all around. If you can afford them, fine. But they're not easy bats to afford today. I will say that. Because we got all these top end arms, and it seems like people are gravitating more towards them. So maybe the Dodgers go a little lower owned than you would expect on typical slates. But that'll do it for that. Let's go over our top stacks. Big T, give me your top 3 stacks.
Yeah, so I would rank it tonight. I think I'm going to go with the Mets. We kind of both liked it, or all 3 liked it a little bit. I'm going to go with them as my number 1. The Reds is my number 2. And, I want to say the Seattle game, but I just don't. I hate that park. So I just don't like playing parks that I hate. So I'll give me the Giants just as a crazy number 3. I don't think you should full stack it. Like, I'd rather play the Mets and the Reds, but maybe you play 2 or 3 Giants as like your fillers to go with them. All
right, JT, give me your top 3 stacks.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Mets and the Reds, and then on the lower owned side, I am going to go to that Seattle game. I'm going to go to the Colorado side. I'm going to take some shots on Colorado because you've got a bad starting pitcher who's only going to go a few innings, and then you've got the worst bullpen in the game, and no one's going to play Colorado tonight.
All right, mine, I'm going to go Mets and Red Sox. I'll put Red Sox 1. I'll put Mets 2, but I like both. They're basically 1A and 1B for me. I'm a big fan of those 2 offenses. Red Sox.
JT's right. Like JT, that's why he's the man at these tournaments. Like, you look at these pricing from the Rockies. Story 57, Blackman 5K, Arenado 5.9. No one's playing those dudes. Like, no one's playing them, and they got as much upside as anyone on the slate. Even Hampson in the 1 hole at 38. Like, people aren't going to play these guys. I need to give me some Rockies. They just became my number 3 team, so I got to get with my man JT here. And we're in unison tonight with our 3 stacks, which I like. We'll see each other at the top of the leaderboard.
I love it.
I will say this: didn't the Rockies did they put up a lot of runs last night? I feel like that was a high-scoring game, correct, against Kikuchi?
It wasn't like crazy. It was
6-3. It wasn't. I think tonight could be more high-scoring, just because it's. I can't overstate how inferior these bullpens are. I mean, these are guys that if this wasn't a 60-game season with all that's going on, some of these guys would be in single A.
I mean, listen, JT, we had 8 runs for the Rockies. Let's just do it together, man. Rockies are my 3rd favorite. So
let's get it.
I like it. I was looking, and I was kind of building teams. I was like, this feels too chalky, and I was trying to look at some tournaments. And man, JT's right about those Rockies getting under-owned. So let's push the Rockies.
Upside, man. Like, I don't love the bottom of the lineup, but these dudes at the top got crazy upside. They got power.
I mean, Big T, you don't have to play Matt Kemp, right? But just do a 3-man stack of Story, Arenado, and I don't know, Sam.
The funny thing is, I might be on the Kemp wagon even. He might be now. I don't know who would be my 5th. I have to play the 4, I think Kemp might be my fifth that I have to put in there. I don't think I can play any of those other guys.
I mean, Kemp definitely makes sense. If you're, I
It would
get it
be
when like
great
the way
if
you're
Kemp
looking
won
at
me
it.
a GPP though after I made fun of him.
Yeah, Drew Bertera is not bad as like a 3K catcher
I was
if you
just
need the
about to
value.
say,
I'd look
I
at
was
that
just
too.
about to say, I got to do a catcher home run call tonight, right, Mangone? I mean,
Yeah. So kick it off, JT. Give
super.
me your catcher home run call, or not catcher. Give me your home run calls. Your three guys, and let me know.
I mean, we had all the good mojo going, and you guys start talking about Drew Butera on him.
Man, I think I'm going to go at the high end. I think Pete Alonso gets right tonight. I think, man, I like Phillip Ervin in that game. I think Phillip Ervin might be able to hit one out tonight. And then Arenado is going to hit a home run tonight off of that terrible lefty.
All right, Big T, you're next. What do you got for home run calls?
Yeah, so up top, I don't even need to say up top, but I like this Dominic Smith as like a random home run call. Lefty, technically out of the gate, even though I don't think it'll be lefty for long. Give me Dom Smith. Give me Matt Davidson to hit another one tonight. He looked good last night, coming back with another soft throwing lefty. Give me Matt Davidson. And I like the Rockies, but I'm not going to go with them for a bomb. Give me my man Wilmer against Clayton. Complete leverage play. I'll take him. Big Wilmer against the lefty. I'll send out the tweet that says Wilmer. It's going to be fun.
All right. Home run calls, I'll give you JD Martinez. I like him a ton. I like Pete Alonso. He could easily hit one out. And I'll give you Matt Kemp. We'll go to him. And why not? Just that'll be fun if he hits one out, and it's against a lefty, right? The splits are good. Maybe he'll, get it going here. But guys, we got to get on out of here. Thanks a lot for joining us. For me, Mangone, Big T, and JT, we're out of here.